It's the Exit 52 podcast presented by Jimmy Seafood. Guys, I legitimately almost introduced the podcast as the Coconut Bangers Ball. It's a wrap after watching the Robert Goulet thing before. We just spent the last 10 minutes before recording the show watching the Will Ferrell Coconut Bangers Ball Robert Goulet skit, which I don't know if I've watched in like 2 or 3 years, and it just plays from pillar to post. It is so good, just from back to front, however you want to say it, front to back. Incredible stuff. I just might start talking like this. Goulet at some point during the podcast. Nature Goulet. Hey, RDT, you wouldn't hire a clown to fix a leak in the John. Why let this wouldn't tear down the biz?
You wouldn't.
I mean, he's right. He's right.
He's got a point. The guy has a point.
Right. Some profane language that probably wouldn't play in 2022, even in a comedic sense in there. But
that the best of Will Ferrell was always like one of our, when we were driving to New York to like see my grandparents. That's like one of the DVDs we'd bring.
Did you guys have have we talked about this? Did you guys have a like DVD player in the like a minivan? Did you guys have that going on? We had that as well.
Yeah.
I did not, but
Toyota Sienna.
rode in a lot of cars with people who did. Well, I watched Big Daddy on the way to golf practice in high school. I probably watched it about 15 times total.
That's fair. Did you? What kind of car did you have, RDT?
My mom had she had a Toyota Sienna.
We had a Honda Odyssey.
Power doors, DVD drop down, wireless headsets. It was
Those are the two power players right there. That was a Mazda MPV in our family.
Did you have the where you could hook up a game system in the back? Did you have that?
No, we didn't. Like we used to bring our PlayStation, like whatever hotels we stayed at or whatever. We weren't staying at the ones that you talked about in that starting 5 draft where you had them in your room. We had to bring our but no, I don't even think we would have been allowed to play the video games in the car because
we had it. So they had like the colored cables or whatever that you could put in, like the
ketchup, yellow, ketchup,
white, red, yellow,
mayonnaise,
yeah. And you could like hook them in the back. So we would like play like PS2 or like N64 on our like little TV in the Honda Odyssey. And before that, the Oldsmobile Silhouette. Oldsmobiles don't even like exist anymore.
No.
We went from the one power door to
little
2 power
mutts
doors.
go.
Ooh, yeah. But yeah, that was also a staple. We watched a lot of SpongeBob for a while, then eventually graduated to the best of Will Ferrell. That's how I just know SpongeBob, because I just watched best of SpongeBob DVDs over episode, like the Krusty Crustaceans edition, and then you got like 10 episodes. You just like absolutely work through those. So
I had a baseball coach at one point who was very into a blue collar comedy tour.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Caught a lot of that.
Yeah.
The blue collar comedy tour.
Yeah.
I don't know if I remember those
Ron
DVDs.
White.
I remember the ads for the DVDs. I don't think I've ever watched any of those.
They were good. They were very funny.
They were good.
By the way,
they were.
Speaking of ads, I would like to apologize on behalf of the podcast for us missing the BGE Wires Down Red Alert song in the draft last week. I think as a local commercial that has to at least be mentioned. I think I pick it at some point in the draft if I remember it. Wires down, red alert, don't go near your good hurt. I mean, do you think anyone's touched a wire in Baltimore in 20 years? I can't imagine if they've watched any TV.
No.
I'm going to have my kids watching that from the cradle. That's something you got to know.
Do not touch.
Do not touch. That guy's freaking elbow coming up with the little mechanical sound. I just said it's such a good piece of production. I just can't even explain it. You're just like, wait, what's happening? And that girl at the end, I wonder what she's doing. What are all those?
I was going to say, we need to get them on the pod.
That would be a great oral history of the making of the BGE Wires Down Red Alert. Let's talk offline about that. Let's not give any more away. That would be very funny. All right, Baltimore sports. There's just a couple of things going on. Let's jump into them. We had Ravens cut down day. The Orioles are still battling for a playoff spot. All the news that goes on to both of those things. But I think we have to start with this entire Lamar Jackson situation, which I think there has been about as many ruminations of the Lamar Jackson contract situation as there can be. There's like legitimate contract talks. There's rumors. And now we have the social media portion, which has come up at times, like Lamar willing to tweet, willing to put up Instagrams,
changing bios.
So we see that stuff, changing bios. He does things like that. This all came to a head yesterday as we tape on a Tuesday when he liked a photo of him in a Miami Dolphins jersey. And obviously got tossed around all of Ravens Twitter. Some reply tweets that he had also came into play, and everybody freaked out. And there is now an understanding maybe from Ravens fans that they aren't that close in negotiations. I'm not sure we ever thought they were going to get anything done anyway. So to me, this is just kind of bringing up an old thing. But Lamar is talking and doing stuff. And as you said very well, RDT, and then I'll let you guys kind of weigh in here, it is a starting NFL quarterback liking a picture of him playing for another team 10 days before the start of the season. Not exactly optimal if you're a Ravens fan in the front office or Lamar Jackson. Like, none of this is good for anybody. So I will let you guys jump in here. Something, nothing, a lot. I don't know.
Real quick. Just have to get it out now, so you'll hear it here. Breaking news. Gunnar, Henderson, and DL Hall flying to Cleveland tomorrow. Well, to join the taxi squad. So that doesn't really mean anything. I didn't read the full tweet, but I had to get that out there. Sorry, go on, Lamar.
No, that's it. Take it away, one of you guys. It's just weird. I mean, this is just scuttlebutt in another way about Lamar Jackson.
It's not a good look. No matter how you slice it, you can try to downplay it. I'm not going to try to make it into a big deal. It's not quite Kyler Murray and his agent writing an open letter to the organization, making a indirect list of demands in a passive aggressive manner. It's not quite that. Lamar and the team are not far apart, or they are very far apart. They've never been close. The negotiations have only gone as far as they can say that they've had negotiations. I think for months now, maybe even before last season, Lamar was prepared to bet on himself in this final year, knowing that the Ravens have the franchise tag in their pocket and that it could go another step. It's the leverage that the Ravens have, and they're willing to play it. It's a game of chicken, and they're just nowhere near a place where either side's going to blink yet. So while it is unusual that a quarterback at this age with this level of talent and accomplishments in the league doesn't have a long-term deal, that's the fact of the matter. That's just where things are. Anything else talk-wise is just a waste of breath. So I think that the two sides have a level of understanding with each other that's the case. It's just not a good look for Lamar to start to do some of those things that just kind of rock the boat a little bit. I feel like they should just be on the same page in terms of, hey, like, if Lamar, if you want to bet on 2022 season, let's do it. Let's focus on football. Let's go out there. Let's win. Let's have a win-win-win situation where, like 2012, where you win the Super Bowl and we got to pay you a fuck ton of money. Like, let's just try to focus on that. So I don't know. It doesn't make anybody excited ever, for some people, the sky's falling. It's just not fun to see 10 days before the season. It sucks. I don't know how else to put it. I'm exhausted of all of it.
Didn't he say too that he was going to keep all that stuff kind of private and like he wasn't going to really like go public with it? And then he just flat out tells some guy on Twitter, no, they didn't offer me $250. Like, again, as if I'm DaCosta or Bisciotti, it's kind of like we're just telling randos on Twitter like that.
It just undermines the trust in the negotiations.
And there's no big trust anymore. I mean, that's out the window. If
Lamar wants to be his own agent, then like he's got to, I don't know. You wouldn't see an agent going out and saying these things online. It's a different dynamic when you are the agent and the player, but I don't know. It's just not a good look.
No. And like we talked about it offline, like I'm shocked that it isn't a bigger story. I'm not sure why it's not a bigger story. Again, if Aaron Rodgers last year during his stuff was liking pictures of him in a, I don't know, Carolina Panthers uniform, stuff like that, like I think that would have been decent sized news. I think Lamar is an absolute star in the league. And again, it's like, I just don't know why it's flying under the radar. But I mean, at least here in Baltimore, it's not. It's a huge story. It's like it was the story yesterday. But yeah, like you said, it's just, I think you summed it up perfectly. It's not a good look for, again, you're 10 days out from the season starting, and your quarterback is kind of in limbo for the next couple of years, and he's out here just openly liking Photoshops and telling randos on Twitter what the Ravens haven't offered him. So
I think there might be just a little bit of fatigue with this entire thing in terms of like a national discussion. There's also just more news cycle going on. You have college football opening up. You have a lot more NFL stories, 10 days out from the year. So, the Lamar like back and forth, I guess, is not of like a lead the first take and those type of shows with so much going on. My thought on this is Lamar Jackson is sort of so loosey-goosey on social media. This was inevitable. At some point, I think he was going to like wake up and decide and like something and reply to things. It's a little like Durant-ish in the sense that I don't think he cares. And I think he's like his own guy. And so with that in mind, this was never going to be a traditional negotiation. I think the Ravens knew that. And I think, maybe Lamar knew that when they drafted him, and it was clear he had no interest in having an agent, right? I mean, I think I've said this before, like that was like a nice story of the draft was like, oh, his mom has like represented him. He's represented himself. They're doing it their own way. But once you got to this point, NFL franchises clearly, I mean, I don't think I'm someone that's never been in a front office. This feels pretty simple to assume. They're used to dealing with these negotiations a certain way, like deal through the agent. Maybe a player has more influence or less influence based on how much they want to be involved. And like, that's how it goes. Whereas this is all predicated on, and this is not me like blaming Lamar for doing what he's doing, but this is all predicated with him. There's no back channel dealings. There's no discussions going on. Like they have to talk directly to him to get anything done. And if he doesn't want to talk, or if he's going to do this, those are the decisions he's making. So like, I almost didn't think it was that big of a deal because I just think Lamar Jackson is all over the place in terms of how he handles like his public persona, that just, this felt a little par for the course for him to just like do something weird and be like, oh, this is funny. Like he could just be like, oh, people are just freaking out. And he's just like, kind of doing it for the kicks. Maybe that's totally off. I don't know. And I'm sure Lamar has a team around him that's advising him in some way. And maybe they're like, dude, what are we doing? Like you're, either pissing off this fan base that loves you or making it deal with the organization. Maybe that was a direct shot. Maybe it's super strategic on the other side. Could be. He's like, fuck this. Like they're not giving me what I want. I'm going to, start kind of making some waves and making them get back to the table and get me to a number that I feel like I want to be at by the end of the year. It's very interesting. And as you said, Banks, it goes all the way back around to the fact that like, this is tiring. I think if it's tiring for the fan base, it's got to be tiring for everybody involved. I just cannot imagine day to day that the front office, the coaching staff, Lamar Jackson, and the other guys on this team enjoy dealing with this. Maybe, they all say publicly, they all do a very good job. The other players, Lamar also to a certain extent when he talks to the media, and, John Harbaugh and Eric DeCosta, it's like, this isn't a distraction. We're moving as we're moving. Lamar comes in every day and works really hard, and we're all connected and pulling the same, part of the rope. I feel like I've said it like 400 times about teams the last 3 weeks. So cliche. But it's got to be somewhat of a distraction that's going on. But I mean, who's to say? Once again, nothing has really come out from the Ravens about this in the last 24 hours. Sources say they're upset with Lamar, blah, blah, blah. They do a very good job keeping that close to the vest. So we'll see if it comes out. We'll see what John Harbaugh ends up saying about it. If anybody asks him about it, I don't know. We'll see what the Baltimore beat core does the next time John Harbaugh's available.
Mark Andrews came out today and just said, hey, let Lamar live his life. Like, leave him alone. Like, which is, if he feels the need to come out and say it, then there's at least some pressure mounting underneath the surface, behind closed doors, wherever, that there's a degree of frustration or a need to say that. So,
or it seems like a degree of frustration that maybe these guys are fully aligned behind Lamar and are just like, this is who he is. This is what he does. It's hard to tell like where that if it's a frustration or defense mechanism to be like, Mark Andrews like, dude, that's my guy. Like, step off. Like, he's doing what he's doing. We don't care about this. Hopefully that's true. Hopefully it is. We don't care about this. That would be great, I think, for everybody involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, again, from the very outside looking in, it just seems like and Banks, I mean, you've said it a bunch of times, like that they aren't really that close, because it seems like he wants fully guaranteed contract, and the Ravens are, again, they're allowed to do that. They don't want to do that. They don't want to give him a $250 million guaranteed. They don't want to give him, anything close to that guaranteed. So it'll be interesting to see if he, digs his boot at his feet into the sand and says, I'm not budging. If they say, well, we're not budging, then, it's obvious he's going to be on this team for at least 2 more years. He's going to play this year. He's going to play on the franchise tag next year. That's when it'll start to get iffy and interesting, but I don't know. I mean, it's who knows? And it's like, I saw someone today, I think it may have been Glenn Clark, say like, does he wait for another couple quarterbacks, maybe like a Joe Burrow and someone else to like sign an extension to give him another like, kind of leverage or give the team leverage. If Joe Burrow doesn't get fully guaranteed like Deshaun gets, they can use that as an example saying, hey, look, they're not doing it. We're not going to do it. Blah, blah, blah. He's been to a Super Bowl. We'll make it up some other way, but we're not going fully guaranteed. So
what's the scenario though? If you said he's guaranteed to play for this year and next, I know this kills the contract. Do the Ravens franchise him if he blows out his knee this year? Like, what do they do?
I would think so. I would think that they would franchise him. A major injury? Yeah, I think so. I mean,
I think they would.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just, it's interesting to see what the scenarios are because then have a guy coming off an injury. I don't know. I'm just throwing out hypotheticals. Probably not worth talking about hypotheticals, but I can't imagine the Ravens, in terms of maneuvering the cap and all the things, want to have that big of a franchise tag. Like you want to structure a contract in where we can do some things, and a franchise tag doesn't really allow you to, doesn't allow you to do that to the best of your abilities. That just doesn't seem like something that front office would want. I don't feel like we see the Ravens do a lot of big franchise tagging, unless my memory is not serving. It's not like I'm trying to remember the last like big Ravens franchise tag usage.
Remember they used to do Suggs, Nada. They did Tucker the one time. But all those guys, I mean, they ended up getting extensions with, I'm pretty sure. Wasn't that the stat, Brian, where it was always like, if they franchise tag someone, they've come to a long-term agreement with them?
There's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. They have not franchised. They have not put the tag on anyone since 2016, which was Tucker, Ray Rice in 2012, Haloti Ngata in 2011, Terrell Suggs in 08 and 09, McAllister in 03 and 04, and Wally Williams in 1998 are their franchise taggees.
Which one of these is not like the other?
Yeah. Wally Williams. That's one of your guys, Artie. You love Wally Williams.
Do I?
That's what I've always heard.
Streets are talking.
I'm sure Twitter will continue to freak out about this. Everything Lamar Jackson does is going to be analyzed. Every reply, every profile change, everything at this point is under the microscope in the city. And that's the way it's kind of been for a while. It's going to become even more like that now. I think it goes back to everything. RDT, you said it. Banks, you're the one that has said it. They're not close. This is not getting done before the year. This may not get done at the end of the year unless, he wins the Super Bowl and it's clear they have to give him, the biggest contract in NFL history. We shall see how it proceeds. You hope that for the organization's sake and the players' sake, they can figure out a way for this to not happen every single week. And to be honest, if the Ravens are winning, this won't matter. If they start to lose, it will start to matter a lot more, right? That's kind of how these things go throughout a season, as we saw last year when the Ravens started to lose. And it's like, well, what's going on with Lamar Jackson? Are the Ravens blah, 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 blah. So we'll see.
If he gets hurt again, I feel like it'll come up in his post-game question, again.
Well, if he gets hurt again, if he gets a major injury, I think all bets are off in terms of how this goes. Because I think then if you're the Ravens, especially if it happens, knock on wood, it doesn't, early in the year, it's just gonna be interesting to see how the Ravens proceed from that point. So any surprises from Cutdown Day, Banks?
Maybe just the fact that they're doing some maneuvering, cutting Brent Urban, that they're going to bring him back. Just they do that to kind of loophole the way that it works with the waiver system and all that. So it's like maybe a little bit surprising that how easily Josh Ross was able to make the team. But then again, we're very well known for giving undrafted guys a chance. And if you just kind of look at his history, him with Mike McDonald at Michigan, are somewhat of a need at inside linebacker. Those things all line up to that guy making the team for sure, especially with him helping on special teams.
The Tyler Batty one was a little interesting.
That one was interesting.
I don't know if I've ever remember if it's Beatty or Batty. Sorry to him if I've continued to butcher his name back and forth.
Beatty.
Yeah, it's Beatty. It's probably Beatty. I keep calling him Batty like a weirdo.
But that was due to the impending signing of what's his name? Is it Kenyon Drake? Is that who
Kenyon Drake? That is
Yeah.
the belief that they're going to sign Kenyon Drake.
I was in the same boat. I was like, holy crap! I was like, I was surprised they cut him, and then I remembered. I was like, oh, Drake he's probably putting pen to paper right now, so that makes him expendable.
I think that the pen goes to paper tomorrow or Thursday, just based on the timing of other things that have to happen before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's all this contractual mumbo jumbo that I try not to get too deep into. And I hate it when I tweet about something and somebody's just like, "Oh, well, they're gonna sign it back anyway." Like, yeah, dude, I know. Like Tony Jefferson.
So we'll get to that. We'll get to people like that. Like that.
It's like, dude, I know. I'm just trying to get these jokes off about him seeing the door.
Because he has glasses now and he can see.
Yeah, I said he put on his glasses just to see his way out.
It's uncommon, obviously, for a team to retain 11 offensive linemen coming out of camp.
And 5 tight ends.
Yeah, and 5 tight ends. But that's where the Ravens have prioritized, and they have questions injury-wise. So some of that will be rostering maneuvering over the next, as you said, over the next 3 or 4 days. They're going to do some things and with some guys. So not the most exciting cut down day. I mean, there's some guys like, Isaiah Mack played well in the preseason. I'm sure he will go somewhere and be decent. Just a victim of cut down day. I'm kind of happy for Justice Hill. He felt like a guy that just got written off and through some good play. And he seems to be very trusted as a special teamer. He makes the team coming off a major injury, like credit to him. Justice Hill's gotten a lot of shit for no reason because I think people thought he was going to be okay. And he's just been hurt and whatever, but good for him.
He had to be sitting there in late April after they drafted Beatty, and then they signed Mike Davis, and he's got to be looking at the writing on the wall like, hey, I got to put up a good performance just so I can catch on somewhere else. And then sure enough, he did well enough to stick. So yeah, good for him.
Who was the one wide receiver you talked about who had I think he had the good catch against
Shamar Bridges.
Yeah. He was an injury? Wasn't he?
Cult hero Shamar Bridges.
Yeah. Yeah. I gave him a purple jacket. I put him in the Ring of Honor already. So
nice of you. Yeah.
He earned it.
If he clears waivers, he goes under the Ravens injury reserve list. So as long as he doesn't get claimed, he's kind of gets retained to a certain extent. Tony Jefferson gone. I hope he gets picked up by somebody else, or Tony Jefferson maybe could be a situation where the Ravens are like, hey, stay in shape. Someone's inevitably going to get hurt. So
he may just be picked back up after they put a couple guys on IR.
Yeah.
So
good tweet by him though after he got cut. Funny tweet by him after he got cut though. He's very good on Twitter. So yeah, not like that. Nothing that crazy. Like nothing like the Raiders cut Alex Leatherwood, and it's like, oh, nice job, you cut your first round pick from last year.
Yeah,
nothing like that for the Ravens. So
it was kind of like that all over. I don't think there were any real big surprises. Marlon Mack with the Texans, like just league wide. I don't think there was many. Like, oh my God, did you see that cut?
Yeah, there's some names like Josh Rosen got cut.
Yeah, but Josh Rosen stinks anyway.
He stinks. It's just
Kellen Mond.
Yeah, Kellen
Mond was a 3rd round pick.
If we need a third quarterback, he might be an option.
That's just another person that
Trace McSorley
will be like, gotta pick him up. He could start.
It still feels like they need an edge rusher, by the way. And I don't know if that's someone that's going to come from a waiver or someone that got cut here.
The Dallin Hayes cut was, I guess, a little bit surprising too, just because he didn't really, he had some health issues, and it just seemed like he never really got a chance to prove himself, which I guess that's what this preseason was, and he just didn't do enough.
I do have to give. I'll wait for Maryland Man of the Week to give a shout out to a cut day story. Yeah. So nothing crazy for the Ravens. They'll add different guys. Kenyon Drake I like Kenyon Drake. He's fine. He'll do a
He's
job.
fine.
I think
He'll catch the football out of the backfield.
he's better than Le'Veon Bell.
Okay, that's fair. He's a boxer now. So
Did you saw
watch
that
what you
tweet?
say.
Did you see that tweet
Who
of
tweeted
like
that? That was a great tweet.
I gotta find
Was
it.
that
My buddy-
Jonas?
It was
Yes,
Jonas.
Jonas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want me
That
to
was
read it?
I just loved the boxer at the end. That's so good.
Do you want me to read it? I have it up right here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me see. I gotta find it. Where is it?
I thought you had it up.
I'm scrolling. All right, Ravens. It's right
don't
here.
Don't let me
Right
throw it
there.
to you until you're ready to go.
The Ravens' top 4 running backs last year: Devontae Freeman didn't camp, Latavius Murray didn't camp, Tyson Williams cut, Le'Veon Bell boxer.
I'm kind of surprised Latavius Murray's not in a camp. That's shocking to me. Not in a camp. Maybe he's not playing, just retiring. But
Same thing.
thought
Devontae showed some.
both those
showed
guys look like
flashes,
they had
the
a little
juice man.
juice in the tank.
Yeah, the Juice Man.
Yeah, weird.
That was a good nickname we had for him for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Juice man. Yeah. So overall, pretty, lack of drama cut day, which I think is good. You don't. If you're making dramatic cuts, like I said, you're probably not in a good spot as an organization.
Is the Ronnie Stanley? People seem to be freaking out about that. Is there cause for concern?
I think there's cause for concern anytime that guy's on the field and somebody else isn't playing left tackle. So, yeah, I think there's a little bit of cause for concern. The thing is, they wouldn't have activated him if they didn't foresee him being able to play within the first 4 weeks of the season, because they would have just kept him there and they wouldn't have had to cut one less person.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they're encouraged that he's going to be on the football field pretty soon here. But there is the chance that he, the team feels that they've done all they can to help rehab him and get him in a position where he's ready to play. And maybe they activated him just to kind of give him a push, like, hey, it's time to put up or shut up. If you say you're ready and you want to play, like, there's nothing holding you back now. Come on out and do it. Maybe there's a chance that that's what's going on. I don't know. But for now, I think it's just time to wait and see.
Did they have to take him off the pup like yesterday or whatever day it was, Monday? Like, in order, was that like a paperwork move kind of thing too? Like,
I don't think so. I think they could have
either.
just
I was
left
just
him
trying
on
to
there.
I was trying to brainstorm like.
So now he's one of the 53 where he didn't necessarily have to be.
Mm-hmm.
But they would have had to wait till after week 4 if they left him on.
Yeah. That's what I didn't know when the deadline was. Like, could they have gone up until?
Yeah, I don't know.
September. What's the first game? The 8th or whatever for that Thursday game. Like, could they have gone up until then or that Monday? I don't know.
Probably before today. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting.
On to the Baltimore Orioles. Lost to the Guardians tonight. And it just kind of stays status quo at this point in terms of the race for the wild card. It does feel like at some point we are going to need to come on a show and talk about the Orioles going on like a 6 out of 7 type of run or 8 out of 10 or something like that, because the teams in front of them are not letting up and they're playing good baseball. And as we get towards September, time is going to start to run out to a certain extent. Not that they're far behind. That makes it sound like they're down 5 games with a month to go. But as it's progressing, we're going to need to come on here and be like, they're doing a great job winning series. I mean, I hate saying this, is what a job to go and win 2 in Houston. I mean, insane. And then you look at the standings and you're like, why are they still 2.5 games back? That's the most, it's almost frustrating how well of a job they've done to stay, not afloat, but stay in the mix here with the schedule they've had, but no one's fallen away to kind of reward that progress. Like, those 2 wins in Houston are gutsy as you can get. That Houston team is stacked and primed and looks like a World Series contender. And the Orioles went in there and played 2 really good games. Just frustrating that it hasn't bared more fruit to the squad in terms of from a standings perspective.
I think before the Houston series, someone had tweeted that they had won their last 4 series and they had lost a game in the standings. And again, it's just like, we always say it, like, just go win standing or go win series and you'll find yourself in good position. And that's just not happening because, like you said, Toronto's playing lights out. Tampa's playing lights out. The Twins are, they were down for a little bit. They're playing well now. Seattle is just kind of taken off and they're playing awesome right now. So yeah, it's frustrating. And then, they lose, I mean, they're in a winnable game on Sunday. They had a chance to sweep the Astros with the Verlander going out in the third inning. And I'm thinking, this is a sweep. We got this. Like, this is an easy sweep. I mean, they played, like you said, awesome games Friday and Saturday. The White Sox series was awesome itself. I was at the Thursday game with the Kyle Stowers home run down to his last strike in the bottom of the ninth. Hits his first career home run off Liam Neeson, or not Liam Neeson, Jesus. Liam Hendrickson.
Wow.
Hendricks? Liam Hendricks,
I believe, right?
Yeah. It just, again, I mean, awesome.
Liam Neeson.
Yeah. Well, it's, they have the accent.
You could say that Stowers was taking him deep.
Heyo.
Oh, man.
I mean, that was a great series to come back and win too. And again, you're like, finally, we're going to make up some ground. And then my thought going into the Astros series was if they win one, that's good enough for me. I think
I completely agree.
And then they won, the first two, and we're thinking, all right, well, Verlander's on the bump tomorrow. I'm fine with this. And then it turned into like hey, we can sweep the Orioles could sweep this series. And I mean, the offense just did not show up, and it hasn't been showing up for a while. It's since that Friday night game, the offense has not been good. They got one hit tonight. I mean, that's one lousy hit versus the Guardians. This tonight was probably the worst game of the year. And I mean, there's been a handful of times in the last 2 or 3 weeks where we're going in the 6th, 7th, 8th inning on a perfect game watch. Like, what's going on? People have been clamoring for Gunnar to come up. He's coming up. DL is coming back up. It'll be interesting to see if maybe they option Nevin or Odor, one of those guys. But I mean, Mountcastle, they dropped him in the lineup. He's been awful. Hayes has not been much better. I mean, Adley has been still really good. Mullins has been really good, but and all the credit in the world to the pitching because they've been pitching their ass off the last week. It's just they got to get the offense going. I think they're 3 back now. So like you said, they're not treading water. I think they're still playing well. I think they're 8-7 their last 15 games. So again, it's like 10-5, something like that to just give them some room and try and climb back into that race because it's not going to be easy to make up those games, especially with everyone ahead of them. And like we talked about, the 10 games versus Toronto is going to be huge. That's going to determine whether they're 3 games out going into, the last couple of weeks, or if they're going to be 10 back, 7 back or something like that. So hopefully Gunnar can, inject a little life into this offense because it has been lifeless. It's tough to watch at times, very tough to watch. So you got to hope that Gunnar again injects some life into them, the young bat, and some switch flips and they're scoring runs again.
Yeah, 3.5 games back now in the wild card as we speak. Yeah, I mean, Tampa Bay 8-2 in their last 10. They're just good. They're just playing better baseball. Toronto's won their last 2. So this is going to be a dogfight. I mean, we've said it for 2 or 3 weeks that this was going to be, exciting, but a tough assignment for the Orioles to get all the way across the line. And as you said, 8-7 their last 15, it's above 500 baseball. It's kind of, the treading water is the perfect cliche for it, but eventually they're going to have to kind of punch through and go on a little bit of run here. And maybe Henderson's that boost. I mean, they have to do something for this offense. As you said, can I just say this? We've talked about the Orioles all year long and how surprising they've been in a variety of ways. How they pitch is just stunning. It just continues to be stunning with the guys that are on this team. That's no disrespect. They just know none of them are names. They just pitch so well for the most part. And they need to be rewarded with some better offense on the other side. They've got to do a better job supporting what just is a total overachievement from the pitching staff throughout the entire year.
I mean, Austin Voth was awesome on Sunday. Like, he was awesome. And he went into that 7th in a 0-0 game and then ends up, walks the guy. And then Brian Baker, for God knows what reason, came in the game with a fully rested bullpen and blew that. So, yeah, I mean, again, these guys are going, I think they went 8. Like the Kyle Bradish game on Friday was one of maybe the best pitched game that we've seen since the no-hitter from John Means last year. And then Lyles on Thursday was good, not great. but they had two straight starts where the guys were going to pitching into the 8th inning. And I don't think that had ever happened under Hyde besides for the no-hitter. So yeah. Again, I mean, it would be nice to see some of the offense, give a decent performance when Austin Voth goes 7 scoreless, because he's been awesome. And again, they're just not getting anything from the offense. 1 through 4 is fine. 5 through 9 is awful right now, just absolutely awful. So again, let's see if Gunnar is what we've been promised.
Yeah, how do you think? Where do they slot Gunnar in on this team at this point? Who does he remove for this? It's got to be Odor, you would think. I mean, that has to be the move at this. You've defended Odor, but at this point, I mean, the batting, we're under the Mendoza line at this point for our guy. He's not punching anybody, so I'm not sure really what he's bringing to the table.
Yeah, he hasn't come up clutch. Yeah, that was the thing before. He was at least having some clutch hits. I don't know if they move Urias to second and put Gunnar. Gunnar like grades out awesome at third. They're like, he's a much better third baseman than shortstop. But like Ramon is not great at second from what we've seen this year. So like Mateo's shortstop. That's sold right there. So I don't know. I think they put him at third. I don't know if it's a guy like Nevin or Odor, one of those guys. Maybe Gunnar's a lefty bat. I don't know if they want to keep another one on the bench with Odor, but I mean, I think if you can slide him in at like 5 in the batting in the batting order too, something like that, I think that would be really exciting with Mullins, Adley, Santander, maybe Mountcastle or Hayes, whoever you want to put at 5. I know they had Ramon there tonight, and then Gunnar at 5. So let's hope again, dude. This team needs some life. I just hope it doesn't get away from them, and before we blink, it's 6 games back, and we're a week into September. So
feels like this game tomorrow is a big one, like a big swing game where exactly what you said, it could start to get away from them if they don't go get that. So maybe that's exactly why the timing of this move makes sense. I'm just as excited to see DL Hall. The start was kind of meh, but I think he can offer so much just kind of as a setup man or a lefty guy or whatever. I just keep thinking about David Price. Yeah, his rookie year, and hell, we got Grayson throwing too.
Well, that was what I was going to go into. Here comes Grayson. Thursday is his rehab start in Aberdeen. And he said today the goal is to reach the majors this year. So here we go. Buckle up for his first rehab start, because if that goes well, that's the talk that's going to start. And the guy sitting on this podcast named Eric is probably going to be leading that talk.
Well,
so.
I think a lot of people will be leading it. I think Tyler Wells was throwing in Aberdeen too. So again, like it's if you can stretch some of those guys out, get him some innings and get him in. I mean, I think September is already going to be really fun. That could make it just absolutely phenomenal if again we get like hey, guess what? DL's up and Gunnar, and guess what? Tyler Wells is coming back. Oh, and by the way, we're going to throw in Grayson too. It's like that's when you kind of just go, all right, like fuck it, we're going pedal to the metal here. Like we're going for it, and that could be really fun. I think Thursday in Aberdeen, like I was even thinking about going. Like I think that would be awesome to go up there and see him. But yeah, Grayson's a big one. I mean, if they can get him going, and I don't know what the rehab plan is for him, but it could be good. It could be fun.
But as you said, I think to complete the conversation about the Orioles, and Banks, I think it's a really good point. It feels like they've got 3 games back. It can easily by Friday be 6 games. Like this could that's the crazy part of baseball to me every time is like this can get out of hand so quickly, theoretically. Either way, they could also rip off 7 consecutive wins and be the number 1 wild card team the middle of next week. So
you just got to get to that athletic series in good shape.
Yep. But it's okay.
But they were competitive against they took 2 out of 3 against, I know that Yankees team's reeling a little bit, but 2 out of 3 against the Yankees.
Sorry, they're only facing Tristan
McKenzie
and Shane Bieber the next 2 nights too. That's the thing. It's like the pitching for Cleveland is pretty decent, but
yeah, I mean Cleveland's good.
I think Cleveland is fine. I wouldn't say good,
but I mean when you're lining those guys up, you can beat anybody. That's what I'm saying. They're not. Yes, they are fine.
They're fine,
but they're leading a division, and they've got guys. They've got pitchers like that. So it's
Their bullpen is unhittable. Their offense doesn't really scare me, but yeah, again, I mean, they are in first because that's what I tweeted tonight. I was like, this Guardians team is not good. Part of that was just me being frustrated, but I mean, again, I think they play in a cupcake Mickey Mouse division, as opposed, I mean, they have one more win and the same amount of losses than the Orioles, I think. And the Orioles are playing, the schedule from hell. So
the Orioles, though, it's not a must. No, they've got to sweep Oakland at home. I mean, they have to sweep Oakland in Camden Yards and set themselves up to bring in Toronto for 4 games and go mano a mano with them and see if they can really make a charge at it. I think. Obviously, they have a ton of games after that, but like you're bringing Houston here for 4. They have the little respite with the Nationals, which should be 2 wins. The Nationals are awful.
I think the Tigers too, right?
They have the Tigers in there.
Those are the teams they have to beat.
They got swept by the Tigers earlier this year.
Yeah, and an awful series.
It stinks. There's no games against the Rays. Like they have all these games against Toronto. It would have just been fun to have 3 with the Rays, just to give themselves a chance to you love the opportunity to just peg a team back by yourself as opposed to scoreboard watching all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's weird being in this. It's like stressful. It's weird being in this playoff race. I'm not used to it. I'm like looking at the standings every day and getting upset after, I was just upset if the Houston's here. So I was like, we should just be a wild card team now. We beat the best team.
It's so frustrating. Every time we lose, I feel like we drop 2.5 games further down the standings. Every time we win, it's like we gain half a game on the team that's the furthest up in the wild card.
And again, I mean, like you look at like the Blue Jays are playing the Cubs. The Mariners or like the Rays are playing the Marlins. The who the Mariners playing? I forget who they're playing. The Tigers, I think. And they're all just absolutely just mollywopping them. And it's like, the Angels,
the Tigers.
Yeah, and the Angels took care of who was it? The Blue Jays, I think last week or last series. So yeah, they got some help, but it was like it looked like it's like when you're scooping out. We've used water as analogies a lot. It's like when you're scooping water out of a boat, then you turn around and the other half is just still completely flooded. It's like we're not making up any ground here. It's definitely frustrating. I mean, they just got to keep winning, and scoreboard watching is whatever. They'll have to do it, but just keep winning and keep yourself in the race.
All right, let's pop into the starting 5 draft presented by Fed Thrill. Use the promo code EXIT52 to get 20% off all of your sunglasses. It continues to be insanely hot at all times here. We are trending, by the way. I actually need to look at the forecast. We are trending towards the 92-degree day for the first Maryland Saturday game in the sun at Maryland Stadium, which is just unbelievably brutal from a weather standpoint. Let's see what we got for a College Park. Oh, AccuWeather. Get your ads absolutely out of here, AccuWeather. You stink. What do we got? 91 the high on Saturday.
Ugh.
High noon, baby, against Buffalo. God, give us some crisp fall days.
Maryland, you got to go white uniforms, right?
We'll wear red, I think.
Ugh.
I would assume. I don't know that. That is not me. We decide that later in the week, but
it's like when
people care about uniforms, but I would assume we'll wear red in the first game. But
it's like when Jacksonville and Miami always wear white in like their home opener in September.
Yeah.
Try and get that mental like.
Yeah,
advantage.
we had the Terp script last year. We had for game 1, so
bring it back.
That was kind of decided. Yeah.
By the way, you know why I think they should bring it back even more, because Western Kentucky straight up.
Yeah, they jacked
that.
They jacked it so bad.
So bad.
Get out of here, Western Kentucky. Nobody cares. Although a former school of one Tyrell Pigram, who's now at Towson, who's been in college for.
He's at Towson?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah.
Good old
Towson.
Piggy.
It's unbelievable. So yeah, get your Fed Thrill sunglasses. You're certainly still trying to block out the sun with the just intense heat that continues. I'm trying to find Piggy's Towson bio here to get his full college. There we go.
He may be older than I was when I was at Towson.
Oh, Towson doesn't have his bio up? Oh my God. Towson. Redshirt senior. He feels like an 8th year senior.
Ooh.
I believe he's been in college since 2016. Yeah, began with Maryland in 2016. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Who was it?
Seventh college season.
FIU? Did he have the walk-off? Didn't he have the overtime winner?
Yeah, I believe that was FIU.
Yeah, didn't throw a pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just ran. Really nice run. Been in Ole Miss, Western Kentucky, Maryland, and Towson.
Mackenzie Milton played in that game.
Damn, that was a long time ago.
That's a
UCF.
long time ago.
I just remember tweeting out like all the pig gifts, being like, "This is it. We got a quarterback."
He relieved Perry Hills in that game. That's how far back it was.
Are you saying Perry Hills got hurt?
I am saying that.
No,
yes.
that doesn't sound like Perry.
Oh, sorry,
Young,
you said FIU just to Central Florida. It was
Central Florida. I knew it was one of
Central
those
Florida.
weird. It was one of those weird.
Played
Florida.
FIU in that era at some point. We played FIU in a road game in that era at some point. So yeah, still in college for the pig man. Starting five draft presented by Fred Thrill is worst. I'm gonna say worst Twitters.
Yeah.
Like versions of Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Sect group of people.
Yes.
Sure. That's what we're going with.
You can lump people into groups. It's a little ambiguous, but that's why it's fun.
It's a little ambiguous, but that's kind of how we do this thing. I have the first pick. Banks has the second pick. RDT, you have the third pick. So I am setting the tone here, and I think I'm just going to take my pick that I know you guys aren't going to take, but I think I just have to get this off. I just think I have to get this off at the top of the draft. So I'm going to take hashtag SM Sports Twitter, social media sports Twitter. All right. So this is like, I guess, the community that I sort of exist in to a certain extent, like the creative community and sports in general, which has many good, talented, hardworking people. Ton of them that are incredible at their jobs, way better than I am. So I'll preface this by saying that. But boy, is this a tough community just in general to observe on Twitter. It is like at times super self-important. It is at times like annoying in terms of people like not overvaluing, but like just being very like judgmental of what other people do. But then also on the other side, being like getting upset when people are judging them. It's just a very bizarre at times community of people. And I think the people that exist in it kind of know what I'm talking about. And we kind of make fun of it internally a little bit. So I'm not doing a great job explaining this to the listeners probably because it's a kind of you had to be there thing. And I'm just in it a lot. But hashtag SM Sports Twitter is horrible at times. And like I said, many good people in it. I'm sort of in it. I never ever used that hashtag before. But for the people that make it suck, you suck. That is just what I have to say at the top of the draft. And this is a community that I have just complained about over and over and over, parts of it. Because like I said, have a ton of friends that are also in it. But stinks. At times just stinks. So hashtag SM Sports Twitter. I'm taking that. You guys sort of see that stuff a little bit, I think. But whew.
I'm familiar. Yeah. It's all self-righteous.
Correct. I think the word self-righteous, there is some self-importance going on that is just personally not how I operate. Now I say that as someone that also like puts themselves in front of a camera and does things that promote myself, but there are some like self-promotion and some self-importance that I think is totally insufferable. So that's my pick. I just needed to take it. And it is my least favorite Twitter community, which is amazing because I exist in it to a certain extent, but I would be a fraud if I didn't take it first. So even though it's bad draft strategy, I'm taking it first.
Hey, it's a safe pick.
Staying true to my principles. Thanks.
I'm taking what I think should be 1-1 for everyone. I'm taking political Twitter.
Damn it.
Just politics on Twitter is just the worst. Like nobody has ever changed their mind based on a nuanced conversation on twitter.com. It just hasn't happened. The Bird website is just toxic when it comes to politics. Election years are absolutely miserable. Just so miserable. And they're just never ending. Like every once in a while you get like a fun thing like a Ken Bone at like on a debate night or like a fly on like you'll get something fun like that, but other than that it all sucks. And then even like they'll ruin Ken Bone when they find out that he's just a creep online. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, political Twitter is just miserable. And I'm talking both sides. I have to preface with both sides. It's so extremist on both sides, it seems like, and it just drowns out everybody else who just wants to enjoy themselves on Twitter or has thoughts that are just, there's no way anybody can have thoughts in the middle. Like, it's just, there's just no way anybody could have any sort of thought that's balanced and just like nuance and just whatever. So it's miserable. Political Twitter, easy pick for me.
Yeah, that's 1-1. That's a not.
Can
that's a
make a
pick.
small counterpoint? So everything you said was spot on. But one aspect I do like of political Twitter is I enjoy election night Twitter. Like the
That's right.
the chaos of like people calling elections or acting like they know what's going on, and that's obviously once everything's like all the campaigning is over, so it kind of takes out a lot of the like riffraff and lunacy of what's going on, and it's just like a bunch of people trying to like decipher numbers in like Cuyahoga County in Ohio. That stuff entertains me personally, but that's a very small part of what political Twitter ends up becoming. So just wanted to toss that in. It's something I like about political Twitter, but for the most part, just a horrible discourse of horrible people. So good pick.
Yeah.
RDT.
I'm going to go. And again, this is maybe we can talk about this. I'm just going to go Rex Chapman Twitter. Anything Rex Chapman. That kind of like the
I want to sum up your pick better, but I also want to think about taking something. So
that's like I have a couple others, but I mean I have a lot.
No, I'm fine with you taking Rex Chapman's Twitter.
Are you just taking like aggregator Twitter? Is that a better way to put it?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm looking for how to put it, how to word it.
That is how I would have put it because that's on my board. Like, but I don't want you to take that because I would like to take it. But you're taking Rex Chapman Twitter.
Yeah.
So you need to explain what you're taking.
I'm taking Rex Chapman's Twitter. Like
just his Twitter.
Straight Rex Chapman.
Yeah, I'm just taking Rex
in the first round.
Yes. I think it's that bad. I think it's that bad. I think it's awful. Like
you just inspired me to throw something else on my board though.
Well, it's the dogs, bruh. Like dogs, man. We don't deserve dogs. It's like that, those kinds of tweets. Throwing out questions that he like knows the answers to that he just knows will get like responses and all that. I think he's the worst person, one of the worst people on Twitter. His whole Twitter game plan, and this is coming from someone who is very bad at Twitter. Like his whole Twitter game plan just stinks.
Oh, you're not bad at Twitter.
Oh, I'm awful at it. I'm awful at it. So I'm going that first. My next one, man, I got. I'll go Bachelor Twitter, Bachelorette Twitter, whatever. Fucking, it's awful. Like the show is on nonstop. It's on. It's literally running all year.
They have run this show for a lot of weeks in a row at this point.
It's because like then I'll see like, oh, this is over, and he picked her, and like, oh my god, this is great, and then it's like next week on Bachelor in Paradise, and then it's the Men Tell All, and then it's. By that, I there's no break from Bachelor, Bachelorette, whatever Twitter. Like it's awful. It's awful. Like it's such a bad show. I know, Taylor, I think you're a fan, maybe.
I have not watched this season really. I've watched one episode. But yes, I won't go away from the fact that I've had a Bachelor fantasy league for like 3 or 4 years. So yes,
well, that's what I'm talking.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, it's so bad. It's like it's just bad TV, and then it's just people just nonstop tweeting about it. Again, because it just never ends. It's always on, and I don't understand it. It's got to be one of the longest running shows. It's constantly on, so it's very annoying. Bachelor Twitter, Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, Men Tell All, Rose Ceremony, whatever you want to lump into that. It's all.
I think you just hate this show more than maybe.
Well, yeah, Twitter. I hate the show, and Jesse Palmer's doing it now, right?
Yeah,
because what's his name is not. He's not
Chris Harrison got the old cancellation.
Yeah. Real shame.
Yeah.
Real shame.
Thanks.
I'm going to take something that I can't imagine was going to make it through Taylor's 2 picks on the other side. I'm going to take college recruiting Twitter. Just people who are very just inside high schoolers' lives and just are, replying at these kids, or like people who are just super into like when they get commitments and are just super about it. Like they dedicate their lives. Like it's just how they get through days at the office is just thinking about who might go play for who might be like one of their 120 players on their college football team. Like it's just so bad. It's just toxic. College recruiting Twitter is an easy pick for me.
I say this with all, and I repeat, all due respect. Those are the worst human beings on the planet. Like, there is truly nothing worse than the people that tweet at high school athletes. And I understand that these people, high school athletes, year after year after year, become more public figures. Their games are on TV. You can stream them. Commitments are these entire drawn out there's entire industry surrounding this, obviously. So I'm not numb to the fact that they're like amateur athletes just trying to figure out where to go to school. It's much more than that. But if you are a clown that goes on, and especially if you're a Maryland fan, it's especially targeted at Maryland people, and you go and someone commits to another school and you're like, tell them off or something, you just deserve to just not have anything good happen to you. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it is totally bizarre if you're an adult who gets mad, and I understand, look, recruiting, look, I people thought I was trolling Rudy Gay last week for a 20-year-old recruiting story, which I wasn't. So people get upset about recruiting. I get it. And we play into it and people feed into it. But if you're one of these people that is just like tweeting at recruits all the time when they post like photos of them with their high school teammates, you should be shipped off to the moon. What a joke. I'm glad you picked that. It was on my board.
That's a good pick.
I almost took it number one. I almost took it number one overall, but I had to do my thing there. To the ship up, not to the moon Barstool, ship them to the dark side of the moon. What a joke.
Ship them to Uranus.
They remind me, and this can't be taken, so I'm not going to. They remind me of adult autograph seekers. That is a similar group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Those people are in the same sect. I'm sure they should have their own combined Reddit. Those people. Ugh, I hate these, and I see them all because they're, we get tagged in things. You see the tweets. Thankfully, we are at a fan base in Maryland that doesn't have the worst of these people. I don't think, because we just don't have as rabid of a fan base on like something like football, as opposed to an SEC school that has all these lunatics. Hate it. Oh, nothing. There are not many things that grind my gears. You can just tell I'm getting like viscerally upset. So let's move on.
That's a good pick. Really good pick.
That's a great pick.
That's legit 1-1 talent going in the second round.
Yeah, it was not getting past me, but I'm glad that you took it. Thank
you for advocating for my pick, by the way.
No, I mean, look, good picks. I have all these picks.
Yeah, I know. You could say it better than I ever could.
Except for RDT shitting on The Bachelor, which is just like whatever. That seems like a personal.
I literally told you all my picks were gonna.
It was on my board.
I'll see if you guys let this go, and I'm gonna take a general pick, and then I'll let you guys be more specific with it. I'm just taking Stan Twitters. But if you guys want to take individual Stan Twitters, I'm fine with that. I just hate the idea of Stan culture on Twitter. So that's essentially what I'm taking. Stan culture on Twitter. Now, if there's
talking like
individual group, I'm talking about like you're giving away a pick, but like any of those groups of people that like artists or movie stars or shows, like just super fan Twitter.
Like,
but you guys can say it's not specific enough.
Like if my name is at Lamar Ravens, something like that, is that like and you're just a constant Lamar, or like and that's the one that pops into my head? Like,
correct. Yes.
Okay. I mean, I mean, there are some that I have on my list. Again,
I don't think this takes those away. I just hate that mentality in general. And I think there's like specific things about individual ones that make you worse.
Yeah.
So that's my
overall.
That's my overall. So I'm taking that first. I don't think
blind Homer Twitter is like
correct.
Kind of what you're going for.
Which can like pop up in a bunch of different industries in a variety of ways, sports, entertainment, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Some could say I engage in some of that, but I don't believe. I believe I'm very forthright and fair. And then with my next pick, I am taking act like an expert for things you don't understand Twitter.
Kind of lumps in with the politics too.
It lumps into everything.
But yeah.
Oh, I've watched like 3 F1 events, so now I like know what the pitch strategy is because like I'm the F1 guy. or I'm the soccer guy because I've watched like 4 Premier League games. These are a little more general. I'm not taking specific groups. I'm just taking mentalities. I hate people that act like they know everything on Twitter about like very specific topic as things are going on. So it's like, oh, I'm really like, if I tweet, oh, I'm really enjoying watching like college basketball, it's been a great game between like Miami and Oklahoma State. And someone's like, that 2-3 defense that Oklahoma State's running is just really shutting them down. You gotta really lock in a little more to the fundamentals. It's like, I hate these people.
Or if like, again, you're like, oh, it's a great game. And someone's like, well, actually they're combined to shoot under 40%. So it's not a great game.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well then just, okay, never mind. Like, yeah, I know what you're saying. I allow
so
that.
I'll take that if you guys don't allow that one.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm gonna take cryptocurrency Twitter.
Oh, damn it. I thought I could get that.
Yeah. Just people that are just their entire existence is all about. It could be Bitcoin, could be, I don't even know what most of the other ones are. It's just like,
this is another one that's so interesting because the people that are like at Dogecoin 6969 with like their like
this is a big
ape
thing
in their avatar is like so annoying. But then I'm fascinated by the people that can actually break it down as experts,
right?
And are like,
cryptocurrency in itself.
It's
I'm not
interesting.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing whatsoever.
That's why it makes the Twitter even
thing.
worse.
It's
it
just
makes those people even worse.
There are people whose entire personalities are based on this, and it's like, dude, like,
it's like you being obsessed with cash dollars. Like it's weird, like, very weird.
That's one where people change their handles, and it's so bizarre.
And
it's or like at like Big Dick F 55. It's like, get a grip. It's a good pick.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's the same thing for me as political Twitter, where there's like things in it that if you like cut through all the garbage, there's like, oh, I'm like interested in how cryptocurrency
it's interesting,
works.
but they're just ruining it for me.
Ruining
they
it
just
for you.
make me hate it. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to hate cryptocurrency. It's probably a very sensible thing to just. We're just going to go down the road where we're talking about what cryptocurrency is, but yeah, decentralized currency probably makes a lot of sense to some level. Diversify, blah 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 blah. But
I'm gonna give I'm gonna lump in NFTs with that because it's the same group of people.
I was gonna try and pick NFTs next, and then ask if it was too much like it. Like
I think we lump NFTs.
I figured it
feels like a very similar community.
Yeah. And again, I'm fine with that.
Once again, NFTs super freaking interesting. It's just all whatever.
Yeah.
I probably should have not given that to you, but it's all in the same family.
It's in there now.
I'm just putting crypto Twitter. That's what I wrote. Crypto Twitter. You get RDT. You get to.
Let me take. I'm not even gonna say that one anymore. What was I gonna go? I'm gonna go. How do I word this? Like. And again, it's not Rex Chapman-ish, but like the dumb question Twitter. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Like those same questions that people tweet out.
Dumb hypothetical, just like the regurgitated ones.
And you see it every like 2 or 3 months, everything goes viral again. I'm trying to think of like some of the other ones off the top of my head, but I can't. But like there's always those kind of just bland accounts that ask those, like there's always that one. The movie one, the Die Hard one at Christmas is like just the most annoying thing in the world. Same thing with the hot dog a sandwich. Those always just
definitely not Is Joe Flacco elite. That's definitely not one of those.
Not anymore, but I mean back in the day it was pretty, it's up there. It's pretty annoying. But yeah, so I'm going that. And then my next one.
That's a good pick. That
I wish I could think of more.
No. It ruminates. It's like what's your favorite sports memory? It's like it's that stuff. It's
the like top
that,
5.
Which by the way is something everyone trades in. Like we do that in Maryland, like where it's like, what made you become a Terps fan? It's easy content.
Who's the first player you think of when you see this jersey? Like that stuff.
Show us a picture of you in your workplace. It's like. I don't care.
Yeah. Yep. All righty. I'm going.
What's your first picture at a sporting event? This goes back to SM Sports. Move on.
I have so many. I mean, do I go another show? Do I go an artist?
Come on, I thought you had all these picks.
Do it.
That were
I
gonna come
do.
after me.
I have
Come on,
good.
come on.
I have good picks.
Come on, fire away,
All right.
You had all this big
Game
talk.
of Thrones Twitter.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
That was gonna get picked by me next.
Yeah, show stinks. Like
It doesn't. It doesn't. It's bad.
It's not. I haven't really watched the show. I can't imagine.
I've
the
never
show's
watched
bad.
it.
The Twitter stinks.
The Twitter sucks.
Like,
They're not normal names. They're talking about Digarianth and Tarianth and dragons and it's
They didn't set up this new show well with the names. They're all too similar.
They all look the same. Every tweet I see, I'm like, that's the
Oh my
same
God,
person.
I'm mixed up.
Yeah, it's like just two letters are switched and that's it. And then it's like oh well, you don't like it because you don't understand it, or like blah blah, like that one where there was a fight scene and it was dark and people were complaining about that and
that was
saying like
that was something else.
It was just awful nights of Twitter. And then that's why I was so happy when that last episode or last couple seasons or the last couple episodes of the season,
last season was trash.
Was so bad, and that's when I was like, thank God, like this justifies my you can't be a goat if you had this bad season. Like you can't be.
That's the narrative now. This new show is awesome. I'll just say that much. It's awesome so far.
Well, if you have to do a spinoff, then I mean, is it that good though? Like,
it's not a spinoff though. It's just telling more of the story. It's a prequel.
It's got that House of Dragons is getting lumped into. So burn it all.
Figured that.
I have to.
Thanks. Taking Mets Twitter. It's a very specific Twitter. I'm taking Mets Twitter. I said Barstool is like, we catch a lot of Mets narrative, but just like, if I could pick out a specific fan base that I feel like is just at each other's throats so much and like just constantly overreacting, whether it be good or bad, and just over the top and just relentless with it, it's Mets Twitter.
Well, that's just Frank.
No, it's all of them.
The Frank stuff stinks.
I don't know if you guys follow Frank the Yank. He is awesome. He does
the
Yankees,
losing your mind when you're I know it's entertaining for people. I'm over the like losing your mind, the act of like, and maybe it's not an act for him, but like losing your mind when your team goes down to like in the first inning when you're like 40 games above 500, like that stuff's just not, it's just insufferable. It just is. So like credit to that for like being a career move there, but like I don't get any entertainment about that. I get that people do, and I know that's Mets fans have all this angst, but like if there was Orioles fans doing that, like I've already teed, if that was your shtick to like, and maybe it's not a shtick for him, like I said, maybe that's all real and fair enough, like fair play. But like if you were just like getting on Twitter, like putting up videos after tonight and like declaring their Orioles season's over because of one game,
it's just
and
so
Mets
toxic.
fans do that a lot. It's so stupid. It's just like, it's just not fun to be a part of a fan base that does things like that.
Yeah.
That is the one thing, and this is not a blanket statement, but I do think one of the really good things that Ravens fans do for the most part, they have some weird things they do, but no one really flips out over one loss like it's the end of the world for the most part, compared to other fan bases, in my opinion, at least in my opinion.
I don't.
Maybe I'm just hanging around the people I want to hang around with. Maybe that's what it is. I'm finding the
echo chamber. I mean, that's a major piece of this whole thing.
Yeah. And if people are doing that, stop. You're just living a worse life.
Those are the fans that have
in
now
my opinion
come into Orioles Twitter, who, when they lose that one day game against the Cubs, people are saying like, you got to get rid of Hyde, you gotta cut this guy, you got to DFA this.
So stupid.
And that's
you
could have
just
Ravens
taken
mentality.
Just bad fans, just bad fan Twitter. Somebody could have taken in this draft.
Mets is good.
I know we kind of can't take it. Mets is a good summation of that though.
I wanted a team specifically, and I think that's the one
I had the Yank.
I have another one that's not far off from the Mets that I'll save.
Okay, so I have two here. I have a variety of things that I want to pick here. I'm gonna pick one that I like follow a lot of people in and annoys everyone else. I'm gonna take soccer Twitter. Soccer Twitter sucks.
I had that.
There's actually a lot of good soccer coverage, but the worst part about soccer Twitter, and it allows people to not, it hurts the growth of like here. People get like very uppity about like how you treat soccer. Soccer Twitter stinks. Like people need to calm down, like let people enjoy the game as they want to enjoy it. And if they want to hate on it, just like Go do something else in your life instead of going back and forth with them.
What?
Soccer tour is the worst.
Brian,
and I love soccer. Love it.
Wasn't it Clem who would just tweet Messi every time
Yeah,
everyone else
it's
did?
one of my favorite tweets.
Yeah, and then he would just start. He just started doing that for other like big sporting events. Would just tweet like a big touchdown.
Everyone's yelling on Twitter about something. He would just yell Messi.
Yeah,
up the Chelsea though. Up the Chelsea.
Yep.
Up the Chelsea.
It's great. It's great.
My last pick is a little bit of an explainer. I get very upset at people, and I'll use Game of Thrones as an example. It's like, dude, if you haven't watched the second episode of Game of Thrones, like, what are you doing with your life? Those people that do that about specific things, like, let us do what we want. I don't care that you like the first 6 episodes of Severance and I haven't had time to watch them. Calm down. I will eventually get to Severance. Just don't tweet that. Just do not tweet that. The worst. I hate those people. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, I'm with you on that. Yeah.
I have it as if you're not doing this, Twitter.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's a very good way to put it.
Or how are you not? Why have you not? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's even the stuff I like.
Lives.
Yeah. It's like, God, if you haven't gotten into Drive to Survive and watched F1, I mean, you're just doing it wrong. It's like some people aren't going to watch 5 seasons of Drive to Survive and then watch every race at 9:50 from Belgium on every Sunday. Like, I'm enjoying that. Not everyone else has to enjoy that.
Last pick here.
Yeah.
I have an overarching thing here, but the best way I'm going to explain it is just use my example. I stopped watching the NFL when Kaepernick kneeled, even though I tweet about the NFL nonstop Twitter.
Yes.
Like people who just make the declarative, if blank happens, I'm doing this, or I don't care about this. I don't care about that. You clearly care about it because you talk about it all the time.
If Trump gets elected, I'm moving to Canada. If they take away,
it's both sides. I'm not.
And
making
everyone
it
is no. I know you're not. It's not. I'm saying, like, I was just giving another example of, like, you saying things over and over and over that you're going to do something, and you just continue to tweet about the same topic.
Log off. Just log off.
Just stop tweeting. Just get off of the Bird app.
Get offline.
I said I'd move to Canada if Stephen A. Smith became president. So
yeah, I bet you won't.
Yeah, well,
we'll see.
If that happens,
we'll see.
I'm calling it declarative statement with no action Twitter.
Yeah. I like that. It's a good one.
You're on thin ice here, Taylor.
What?
Declarative statements.
Not online. I'm not doing that online. I'm doing that among the boys. Come on now. Come on. That's just all good fun after a couple drinks in our ducks. We're not. Come on. That's different. That's a different segment. That's a different segment there. That's a different segment. If I was tweeting that, can you imagine if I tweeted that?
Yeah.
Oh man, that wouldn't be good for me. All right, RDT, finish it off.
All right, I got to do it. We're going Taylor Swift Twitter.
Oh yeah, that's so bad.
Listen,
so bad.
She's
so
good.
Bad.
She's very good. We know this. We don't need the constant just going nuts every time an album's out.
Wow, it's been a while, Eric.
Listen,
there's 3 years between these albums most of the time.
If I see one more goddamn thread about every time she said midnight in a song, I'm gonna kill myself and log off.
This is such a bad take.
Listen, I get it. She likes midnight. It's perfect. It's almost midnight right now. We get it, Taylor. It's not Taylor's fault. I will say it's not Taylor's fault. It's again, I like her. I think she's good songs.
Can I play devil's advocate? If you were really going to go in on Taylor, you would say that it is her fault because she leaves tons to be interpreted, and so she allows people to interpret, which is I find fun. But you clearly find it insufferable.
Well, people digging into every Instagram caption and like, oh, well, she used this Pantone of color and this on this album color and this and that and blah blah blah. We get it. Again, I like her. She's good. I know that this is rubbing you guys the wrong way, but like, when was it? Monday, Sunday, that she announced it.
Sunday night.
Sunday night. VMAs.
I think
cleaned up again.
God, I went
with a song that she wrote 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago. Just released another video for it. Won a bunch of awards. Like, comes into the cultural zeitgeist. Like, one of the few events that sort of has some cultural zeitgeist relevance as a TV event, and just says, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna win all 3 of these awards and just like be the GOAT." It's fine.
so
whatever. But no, we hate her Twitter for getting excited about the fact that she's a genius savant that does amazing music for over a decade at this point, and is the most consistent artist in the world. Whatever. No, Twitter stinks.
Well,
but you're not gonna pick like one of these other stan Twitters to
like BTS or something. I don't know enough about them. I don't know. But
or people that go stand for like Charlie D'Amelio. Like you're not gonna go after them.
I don't see that.
Taylor Swift.
I don't see that part of Twitter. I don't see it.
One of the reasons though that this is like getting worse is because now if you click into anything, Twitter assumes that that's what you want to see, and so it starts feeding you things you don't want to see because you just sort of got curious about a certain sect. The algorithm is like destroyed us on that. Like today, I was, what was I getting sent tweets about? Something, and I was like, why am I? And it was just because like one time I was like, oh, I wonder what's going on in this Twitter community right now, and I just scrolled it.
You like the tweet or something.
Do you have your Twitter set to recent or to whatever that setting is?
Recent.
I don't know.
Definitely the most recent.
Yeah, you have to. It's
crazy.
I know
to
read it the other way.
Timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But it still feeds you stuff through the algorithm.
Promoted stuff. I think.
Promoted stuff. I just block all those. I block.
Yeah, I just hit you X them. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good draft. Besides that pick. I took hashtag SM Sports. I may have just destroyed my ability to get other work, but that's okay. Stan Twitter. It's like an expert Twitter. I think a lot of people would agree with that pick anyway from that community. Soccer Twitter, and if you're not doing this Twitter, Bangstick political Twitter, college recruiting Twitter, which might be the best pick of the draft. Cryptocurrency Twitter or crypto Twitter, Mets Twitter, and declarative statement with no action Twitter. RDT took Rex Chapman's Twitter account, Bachelor Twitter, Dumb Question Twitter, Game of Thrones Twitter. Great pick. That was getting picked by me, and Swifty Twitter. A couple of ones I had, and I wish I had more time to research this. I just didn't have time today. I took Golf Pro Twitter. People that just assume they know everything about golf. I took the Bayhive. Can't stand them.
Why? She's a very consistent, hardworking artist who puts out albums to her fans after she cleans up at award shows.
The Bayhive stinks. Red Sox Twitter, Yankees Twitter. I was gonna take aggregators, but you took Rex Chapman. I didn't want to take something that close. And then spoiler Twitter. People that spoil things on social media deserve to be shot with the shot to the moon, not shot. There's to be shot to the moon with your college recruiters and your autograph seekers.
What's your statute of limitations on like spoiling? Like
depends on what it is. Movie's got to be out of theaters, in my opinion, for you to start talking about it like that.
Just straight up out of theaters.
Like if it's a Marvel, if it's a Marvel movie, like if it's Avengers Endgame, for me, like you can't be tweeting stuff like 2 weeks after. Like some people just can't get to the movie theater.
Like LaShawn McCoy.
Now
didn't he just tweet RIP my boy Tony Stark or whatever? Like the night, like opening night.
They can't do that. Like people are living their lives. But it always happens with like The Bachelor, like especially like reality shows. They get spoiled like months before because like people like Reality Steve are on there. I try to live a spoiler-free life. I hate being spoiled. I like just going in and watching things, and so I almost took that. I probably should have taken that. I hate spoiler Twitter.
It's a good one.
What'd you guys have? By the way, there's 800 sports that you can take. Like SEC Twitter is brutal. Duke Twitter is brutal.
It's usually any team that wins a championship, like Twitter, like
amateur bracketologist Twitter.
Bengals Twitter right now is miserable.
Yeah.
I had Philly sports Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
They can be very enjoyable at times, but other times they can be fucking miserable too. There at one point, Terrell Suggs hit Sam Bradford.
Oh,
because Bradford pretended to keep on a RPO or something. And Suggs hit him in a preseason game because, like, if you're going to fake like you have the ball, like, you have to take the hit. It's just football. And they just, like, made such a big stink about it. And that's always stuck with me. It really pissed me off.
Yep. Remember that.
Hockey media. I think that there's a sect of hockey media that's very, very uptight. Old, like, pretty much the baseball beat. Like national baseball writers, just brutal. Reply guy.
crotchety journalist Twitter is awful.
Yeah, it's
like get
just,
off my lawn. Journalism is awful.
Yeah.
One I should have taken. I might have taken this number one. Complaining about when your deadline gets messed up. Twitter from the big J's is awful. Get a grip.
Mm-hmm.
Get a grip. Sorry.
Live
when
golf guy Twitter, like sorry, I'm cutting you off here.
No, I was just saying, like, when my best laid plans get killed too when we lose games. Like, it just is what it is. It happens. Get off it, journalists.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
The live golf guy Twitter, like guy who just thinks that like the PGA Tour is paying me to write whatever I'm writing. Met Gala Twitter.
Oh, yep.
That's
yeah.
a miserable night on
I kind of
Twitter,
enjoy
for
Met
sure.
Gala.
Did you see
I like Met Gala.
who is it? Jason Derulo fall down the stairs? That one when it goes viral.
Yeah. Tweet thread Twitter. It's like Joe Pompliano.
That guy. I was gonna say that guy.
Here's a thread.
Can I give a take? There's good threads.
There are.
It's
good
just
threads.
overwhelmed Twitter now.
There's
it's
just people
overwhelmed.
who's that's their entire shtick is just like, here's a thread.
Pomp.
I didn't like. I'm very hot and cold on this, but award show Twitter.
I had award show. I almost took that with my last.
It's
pick.
very much a Twitter. I don't like. It can be good. It can be bad.
I think that's one that can go either way.
It can be a very fun at times. I'll admit.
The Chris Rock was fun. Like that's like this is something. But yeah, I couldn't. Yeah.
The last one on my list was I have over 9 MLK sign items Twitter.
Sorry that a white man can't enjoy Black history.
Yeah. There's a close brother of that. It's some of my closest friends are Black Twitter. So
those people are bad. Those people are so bad. It's like people stretching for connections to try to cross cultural lines. Twitter is a tough look for people. Like, just stop. And then when they get absolutely destroyed by the actual people they're trying to connect with, that's one of the amazing moments on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, oh, you're trying to like be so sympathetic, but you just sound like an idiot.
Tweet and delete Twitter as well.
Oh, that's a direct shot at
tweets.
That's a direct shot at one guy.
He's quick with it too. Shane Gillis is the comedian. He gets drunk and he tweets an insane amount of things and then he just deletes them first thing in the morning. So
that's if we were picking worst Instagrams, people that delete all the posts on their Instagram would be like,
any athlete who deletes a picture. I hope
our kids always do that.
Yeah, it's awful. I had award show Twitter. I had motivational Twitter. The like, get up, just kill your day. Like, you got this, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's just bullshit that, again, they're just trying to get a billion likes and retweets.
Twitter has that less than most other social media apps.
That's another thing that's very big on Instagram and Facebook.
Up and grinding. I had Johnny Depp and Amber Heard Twitter. I wanted to just throw. I wanted to uninstall Twitter during that. Like, I hate any of that stuff.
That's like Ghislaine Maxwell or whoever that is. It's like, who was the Jeffrey Epstein Twitter, like everything about those topics. It's just like, I just could not care less.
Any kind of trial Twitter, like this falls into the expert. Like, listen, you're not an expert. You don't know, like you don't know what a deposition is. You don't know what any of that means. Like, just stop.
It's why it's hard to say. It's why it's hard to say that the OJ case is not the number one pick. I don't remember what we picked number one for, like, moments you wish Twitter was around for. Maybe it's because I don't wish Twitter was around for it. That would have been an absolute sensation. It's like Nancy Grace Twitter. It's essentially just a bunch of Nancy Graces on Twitter. It's kind of how I would define it.
I had mock draft Twitter, and this is not against Spenny. Is the only one who can do mock drafts. He's the only one. Like,
oh no, you're taking a shot at him. Don't head.
No, like, random guy with 138 followers. We don't need a full 7-round mock draft.
I'm self-aware.
And who the Saints are going to pick in the 3rd round. Like, nobody cares. I promise you, nobody cares. That's also like my draft rankings Twitter, again, of people who don't know what they're doing. I
have one. Fantasy football Twitter is awful.
No, see, I knew someone was going to say that. I like fantasy football Twitter.
No, it's terrible.
I wish I picked that. I didn't
it's
think
so
about
bad.
that for the draft. It's so bad.
Tag me in
Yeah.
your teams. I want to see all your teams. Tag me.
Yeah,
in
that's
those. I
so
wanna see them
bad.
all.
That's hard. That might disqualify your whole draft. I think that's a good.
It's
I
start.
like it. I think it's
just
interesting.
floating your tweet out there like, oh, tough flex decision this week.
Yeah,
What should I
yeah.
do?
No. Those I don't really like. I don't like
Yeah.
that. I like the people.
You guys
being
like Christian Kirk or Kareem Hunt?
I
I don't care.
Here's my team. Like, here's my drafted team. I like looking at those, being like, oh, that's a good draft. I like that.
You
Not
guys
being
like value of DK Metcalf in the 5th. It's like, no,
Yeah.
I don't care about your team.
That stuff is like the who do I start?
But this
draft
isn't
Twitter.
shocking because RDT, you like talking about your fantasy teams on this podcast. So you're a big talk about your fantasy team guy.
I mean, did you win a championship last year? So gotta do what you gotta do. Marvel Twitter, never seen a movie, so I don't know what any of it means. Like,
Yeah, that stuff's bad. I will say that there's some good, like, people do like, okay, if I was going to pick a TikTok, like theory TikTok is super annoying and Marvel is like one of the things where that is. There are some stuff at times where like theories are like fun to read about, but yes, a lot of Marvel Twitter is very insufferable.
JLC, obviously. Coffee Twitter.
Kind of shocked he didn't get picked by you guys.
Motivational sports Twitter, which kind of falls into that Joe Pompliano guy that, like, I didn't know, not motivational, but like the
Uplifting.
wow, like this story is so amazing and it pulls at your heartstrings. Like, yeah, we get it.
See, I think you're sort of picking the like 2016 drafted in the 7th round, 2017 made the 53-man, like that stuff. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
See,
kind of.
I do that. I do that all the time on there on Twitter. So I can't
yeah,
really
but
upset about that.
that's I don't know, that's different. And I don't know this one, ghost blockers, like the people. This is more just probably for Banks and I. At least I get it a lot. I'll go to someone's page and I'm like, just blocked, and I'm like, I have no idea who this person is. This is a very weird.
Just like, why did this person?
Yeah,
block me?
like
I've
zero
never
interaction.
Interact with them in my life.
Yeah, like the guy who interviewed Lamar telling him that he didn't like to work out or whatever. Like, I clicked on that guy's page. Remember that interview from like last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy has me blocked for some reason. It's like, I have no idea who you are. So
Might be some blanket barstool blocking. For
it was going to be the B asterisk RST.
Oh, that's one. That's one. Those people are weak. Just tweet it. If you're gonna go after people, freaking put their stuff in there.
Yeah.
You know what I
Those
should
people
have
are
taken is
weak. Weak.
Put the team's record in your
Oh, yes.
profile name Twitter.
Yes. Record. Yeah.
You will never see that from a Maryland team.
Yeah. That Twitter is awful.
Or like the WWW Indians.
It's so bad that I kind of love it, actually, though.
It's just funny, like when like Orioles fans are doing it last year and it's like 38 and 94. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that?
There's so many ones. I wish I'd thought about. It's just hard to think about it when you're in them, and then like as we talk, I'm just like thinking of other ones that I'm like,
Yeah.
Deep draft.
Good.
Could have gone deep.
Very deep draft. Yeah, we could maybe go back to that at some point. That's one that we could do every year because it's going to change a little bit. Like ones will come up. Like I wouldn't have picked Thread Twitter last year or had that on my board, and now it's just become a thing on Twitter. So, okay, good draft. Send us your ones we might have missed. We had some commercials last week. We definitely dropped the ball, and I'm sure we'll have some here. Nick Cantor Medley, Maryland Person of the Week. I'm going first. It's Taylor Swift. And what's there to say? October 21st, midnights. We'll probably change our lives again.
Instant analysis.
Instant analysis of the announcement of the album. Sure, we can do an instant analysis of the album.
Maybe we should actually do that this time.
Yeah,
that would legit be funny if you just dropped one that Friday morning, being like, "All right, song 1, here we go."
I'm willing to do it.
It's probably going to be after kickball game.
It's a big week.
Are we signed up for kickball?
I don't know.
Uh-oh.
When does kickball start?
Cross my radar today. I think it starts in like 3-4 weeks.
We need to figure that out very soon.
Yeah. I think early bird's already passed.
Early bird has passed. Panda's got to get back out there. We got a full crowd. We got a full go team. It's not like we're running out of a roster. Hopefully, Pandas are listening to this and we can have a little bit of a discussion. So we'll see. But yeah, Taylor Swift, I mean, dominates the VMAs. First of all, comes out of nowhere, comes to the VMAs, dominates the VMAs, announces her album, drops album art, and it's TS10 is back. Rumors of a tour next year. Inject it all into my veins. there are not many things in life that make me happier than Taylor Swift. I'm honored to share a first name with her, and she's the GOAT. So she wins, and she will win that week when the album comes out, and probably the week after when I hear the album.
Well,
So,
you know who the week before belongs to.
Well, that's an amazing week.
That's
Booty
what I was
mix.
saying.
It's October 14th, and then that's what you should. Yes, and then
Huge
we
week
might have
for
to do a
you.
big booty mix incident analysis.
Oh, that would be fun.
It is on a Friday.
Yeah,
I think
it's Friday.
We have an event that day. No, maybe not. Maybe it's an early game. We'll figure it out. But yeah, Taylor Swift. I'm taking Taylor Swift. RDT.
I am going to go. I don't know if anyone saw Dan Connolly's article in The Athletic about Yankees fan Mike Tilley, who was 31, died of colon cancer yesterday. He became friends with Trey. We had actually talked a couple times. We were supposed to meet up at a game, and we just got crossed up and couldn't meet up. But his brother Ryan, who I've talked to a lot, had randomly just after his brother Mike was not feeling well 2 years ago. Went to the doctor. They told him it wasn't anything serious. He ended up just kept pushing these doctors. It's a really good article in The Athletic if you haven't read it. Just ended up pushing these doctors, being like, something's wrong. And they're like, no, you're distressed. You're getting married in 2 months. Ended up being colon cancer. And he only found out because he kept going back to these doctors and being like, something's wrong. But yeah, Mike died Monday at 31. And again, he came to a couple of Orioles games this year, met up with Trey and all that. Trey texted him a ton. They'd been in contact all year. And yeah, it was a really good article. It was really sad. I talked to his brother yesterday. I guess things started going downhill on Friday. They talked to Trey and they talked to some of the other people in the camp. Just a really sad story. And yeah, Ryan, who he said he's going to come to some Orioles games this year. But he's like, this is now, we're going to work with Trey and the foundation and stuff like that to keep Mike's memory alive and, stuff like that. But again, if you have The Athletic, go and read Dan Connolly's first article and then read his one from yesterday. Just awful stuff. Very, very sad. So I thought that was a decent Nick Cantor medley person of the week.
Yeah.
It's tough to follow up there.
That is
a tough situation.
Talk about just daggering.
You could double up with Taylor.
I mean, I could. I'm going to talk a little bit about golf. Roy McIlroy, face of the PGA Tour, doing his thing down at East Lake. An awesome tour championship. Sky Scheffler kind of fell in his face a little bit there on Sunday. Should have been his tournament, but he kind of, like I said, fell flat. Roy sank some putts, much unlike the Open Championship. That's a shame that he couldn't win that one. But yeah, no, it was just a great year for him. I don't think that the tour wanted anybody but him to have won that tournament and the big old $18 million cash prize. So gonna give it to Roy, just more so just because he has been the face and he's advocated so hard for all that is good and right in golf. So shout out to Roy McIlroy.
Was that picture of him doing the money sign? Was that after this last week?
That was from years ago.
3 years ago when he won the same thing.
Because didn't Hank Haney tweet that out and was like, "Don't ever tell them. Yeah. Don't ever let them tell you it's not about money." I thought it was after this week, and I was like, "Wow,
a little bit.
What a baller move!" But
yeah. Also, shout out, I guess, Cam Young for staying with PGA Tour and not jumping to live golf. That's
the Rory McIlroy season is very impressive. As you said, he pretty much became the face of the sport. He was sort of Tiger is the face of the sport, but in terms of a guy that's actively playing, he is playing a major role in changing the PGA Tour to make it a more appealing product for the top end player. And he is starting this entire new league with Tiger Woods. There's going to be these prime time virtual events, which are fascinating to me. I don't know how those are going to work. And he's done all that with all this burden, has played statistically one of the best seasons of his career. As you said, it would have been great for him to get a major, but he played amazing all year. So honestly, and Rory McIlroy, and this is backed up, and you're, a little in this community, Banks, of the golf media. He apparently is just a standout human being, treats all the volunteers really well, is awesome to everybody when he's on site at places, is very pleasant to the media, gives very nuanced and thoughtful answers. He just seems like a stand-up dude. all across the board. So
he seems just very comfortable around other people. So Jay Monahan, I was at the press conference last week when he was announcing all these changes, and Rory just quietly kind of joined the room and just like, it was almost like anybody joining a meeting at the back of a meeting room, and he kind of nudged the guy next to you. He's like, "Oh, what a mess," like that whole kind of thing. Like, he just seems like a super down to earth guy, and people around him gravitate towards him in like a way where it's like, holy shit, that's Rowan McIlroy, but also like, hey, he's just like one of us guys. It's a cool dynamic to kind of see in person.
Wasn't his like one negative thing? What did he do? Who was he dating? Wasn't he engaged to that tennis player?
Caroline
Yeah.
Wozniacki, there was some thought that he like broke up with her over a text or something. I think there was some consternation there.
But it's like, if that's the worst thing he's done, like that's the biggest black eye on his career.
Yeah.
I think
there's rumors out there, but they're just rumors.
Yeah, they're rumors for a reason. She was the witch for
Shout out
Halloween,
to
right?
Rose.
Wasn't she the witch for Halloween? And like
after they broke up, I think.
Yeah.
She had like a big cauldron or something. And
yeah,
I think it's a weird because I think
Caroline
Caroline
was
right. I believe Caroline Wozniacki in the tennis community seems pretty low like. So it's like a weird. I think they're like two well-liked people.
Mm-hmm.
Like she does TV now, and like she's friends with Serena Williams. And honorable mentions. I'm gonna take Jared Bernhardt real quick here. Former Maryland lacrosse player, now Falcons 53 man. That's an amazing story. Just an amazing story. Guy had never played receiver till May. Played as an option quarterback. Obviously, he's one of the best players in Maryland lacrosse history. Won the Tewaaraton for national player. I'm sure if you on Twitter at all, you saw this story today. But super hardworking kid and a guy I know that people really liked when he was here in Maryland. So amazing job by that kid. Incredible.
That award name is maybe my favorite award name in all of sports.
The Tewaaraton.
Yes, it looks awesome too. Every time I see it, I'm like, that's a great award name.
Won by Maryland's Logan Wisnauskas this year. So won by many Maryland women's lacrosse player across the years. Taylor Cummings, Katie Schwartzman, Zoe Stukenberg. So shout out to Jared. Good for him.
Yep. Might as well take House of the Dragon. I'm the only person here who watches the show, so I'm just speaking into the abyss here. So won't waste too much of my breath, but that show is back in a big way. Just that whole scene, that whole world. I finally watched the first episode on Sunday before watching the second one live, and it's everything that the old show was to kick things off. So it's not going away, guys. Sorry.
No. I don't even dislike Game of Thrones. I just dislike the Twitter. I actually would like to watch it. I just haven't. The last time I do is college football. It's back. The Nebraska Northwestern thing was everything I needed it to be and more. Nebraska just continues to do
Nebraska
exactly
football. Twitter could have been a pick.
Yeah, I mean they do what they do every single year. By the way, Pat Fitzgerald is a dude I would love to play for if I was like, he just seems like in the same way that I feel like Loxley connects with his players. I feel like Pat Fitzgerald just like connects with his guys. Like he gets the most out of Northwestern. I mean, that's a tough place to win in football. They have a great indoor facility, but it's not should not be a team that's like making Big Ten championship games and winning that division. I mean, Nebraska puts so much into it. Scott Frost, whatever, it is what it is. But we're back with a full slate this Sunday. I'll use this time to go in. I think the Maryland football Terrapins are going to be very fun to watch this year. And I hope that people that, even if they didn't go to Maryland or just looking for a college football team to support, get down to Maryland Stadium or just watch them on TV. It's an explosive offense, a lot of talent defensively. Talia Tagovailoa is, a super dark horse Heisman candidate, but a guy that has the ability to have an amazing year. Rakim Jarrett, Jacob Copeland, Dante Demas, Jay Shaw Jones, great receiving core on offensive line back. So support the Terps, 12 noon, Buffalo this weekend. Buy some tickets, help pay my salary. Come out and support the Terps. Anything else, guys, for the good of the order? Also, college football Saturday just being back. The best. It's just so good. What a sport. What a ridiculous sport.
Now we just need it to start cooling down a little bit because I know we talked about it before, but like the college football in the 90 degrees is not.
Yeah, it just looks miserable for all the players.
Give me 70s. Give me 70s from here on out. I'll be fine with that.
That's it for this week's episode of the X52 podcast. Follow us all on social media, X52 podcast on all your social media channels, and at Barstool Banks, at EDITTI22 for Eric. You can follow me at TerrorSmite10. You can follow oh my gosh, follow our we every time we record past midnight, I cannot get through this outro without just absolutely almost falling asleep. Support all of our X52 sponsors, is what I was going to say. Thrill Level Midnight, Fed Thrill, and Jimmy Seafood. And we're almost back with instant analysis coming here. So a couple of Sundays. To anybody that started listening to us post-football season last year, we'll be coming at you, whether it's a Thursday night, a Saturday night, a Sunday afternoon, a Sunday night, a Monday night, with an instant analysis right after. We will record right after the Ravens complete their game and get that out either that night or the morning after, for sort of our instant reaction, and do a weekday show, that Tuesday or Wednesday, just to kind of update how the schedule is going to go. As we talked about, maybe if the Orioles make the playoffs, we'll do some Orioles instant analysis, or we have games that decide a playoff spot. We'll cross those bridges, but we're kind of getting to the juice of the X52 season coming out of the summer. Summer's always kind of a lull. Thankfully, the Baltimore Orioles made it not a lull. We've had a lot to talk about, but a lot coming for Ravens season. And so make sure to stay tuned to all of that. We will see you next time on the Exit 52 podcast, presented by Jimmy's Seafood.